Hey guys, coming back for Shameless, Season 6, Episode 3, The F Word, and I was looking forward to this episode, but at the same time, if you guys can't tell, I have not been the biggest fan of this season so far. I mean, the two episodes that we got, I think were very mixed, definitely, and I was really looking forward to this episode, though, because knowing what was going to happen in it, things like that, definitely I was interested, and I have to say that this is definitely, I think, the first great episode of Season 6. The first two episodes have been good, almost really good, but this is a great episode of Shameless. Now, there was still bullshit in this episode. The reason this is not a perfect episode is because there are still plots going on that I really don't give a shit about, and I'm going to talk about those two plots first so I can just get them out of the way. Let's first talk about the one thing that I was okay with at first, but now it's pissing me off. Yanis. Let's just talk about this, because this is going nowhere. It's going absolutely nowhere. This entire plot is Yanis is clearly homophobic. He's racist. He doesn't want the two Lisas to tell him what to do. And now that which he's not dead. We thought Yanis was dead, but he's not dead. And he is upset that the two Lisas want him to clean up his yard, and he thinks that they are the ones that cut the brakes on his, motorcycle, and, got him paralyzed and everything. And I would be fine with this if Giannis was just the least bit likable, but he's fucking not. He's annoying, he's offensive, and I don't know why we're spending so much time in this. Honestly, when this was first introduced, I thought this was going to be like a one-episode thing, a two-episode thing. This has been going on for 3 episodes, and it's still going to be going on because now the plot revolves around Kev not telling Giannis that he was the one that did it. And I don't know why we're making this, like, such a big deal. Giannis is an asshole. I agree with V. He's an asshole. They should not spend really any time with him. But I do understand that they are his only friends because everyone else just thinks he's an asshole. But I don't know why Kev is sticking with Giannis. He should just tell Giannis that, you know what? I cut your brakes, get your shit together, leave me alone. Because Giannis really is being an asshole. And I think it's really annoying, and I'm not a fan of this. I really want this plot to end because I really don't give two shits about Giannis. I don't. I don't care what happens to him. I wish that they killed him off because he's offensive, and I don't think he's funny, and I don't know why they're making this, like, I don't know what they're trying to do here, because it's not funny, it's offensive, it really is. I mean, what he's saying, calling them by the name he is, it's offensive, it's rude, and I know the show has gone in some questionable directions before, but this literally just feels like they're only doing this to be edgy. I mean, Shameless has done this before. They do things just to be edgy, and this seems like one of those things that they're literally just doing this plot to be edgy, and it's annoying. I'm not a fan of it, and I want Giannis to go away, okay? Give Kevin V anything to do. You know what their storyline should be? The bar, because that stuff with Svetlana and what they're doing with the bar, that is fucking hilarious. I love that stuff. Svetlana and the bar, how the bar's like the shittiest bar, things like that. It's only attracting like certain people, the hipsters. That stuff I love. Keep that going. Not this Giannis shit. End this because it's stupid and I'm not a fan of it. Now, the other thing I didn't care about in this episode is, of course, Carl. I mean, are you guys shocked that I'm going to say that I don't give a shit about Carl? Because I don't. It's not that his plot is bad. I actually think his plot was pretty good in this episode. Have this girl that he's trying way too hard to get. I'm just not a fan of the character. I'm really not. And I used to like Carl. I really did. I liked it when he was rebellious, but now it's to the point where he's pathetic, honestly. The fact that he is trying to talk like a black man, the fact that he's trying to act like a gangster, it's annoying. It honestly really is. And just seeing him in this school, thinking he's like king of the world, and he's really not, and this girl is clearly not interested in him at all, honestly. I mean, she might be a little bit interested, but the way he acts around her, I mean, there are other girls out there, definitely, and it's really annoying, and I'm not a fan of it. I liked in Season 4 when we had that kind of rebellious girl, but This just seems like Carl just thinks he's black, and I thought that whole thing was stupid. And I was happy when he went up to went up to the girl's father, and he went after him with a bat, because, yeah, that's kind of what Carl deserves. Every time he speaks, honestly, I want to punch him in the face. It's really annoying. I think it's really dumb, and I got no problem with the way that black people talk. I don't have a problem with that. I think black people are fine, and I'm not trying to be, like, stereotypical. I'm just saying, like, the way that Carl's talking, I'm fine with that, but it's clear that he's only doing it because the girl was black. But I do like this reveal that, and I think this is a good plot twist, that this girl is actually into Shakespeare, and she's not the typical, stereotypical person that Carl has found, because it's clear that since Carl's been in prison, he thinks every black man talks like how he does, and it's clear that this girl doesn't, and I am interested in seeing where they're gonna go. I just don't care for this character. I really don't, and maybe it's because he was gone for almost all last season, but I'm just not a fan of the way they're taking him, because I think it slows things down. I think it keeps us from, getting into more interesting stuff, because pretty much everything else that happened this episode, I really loved. I mean, the two plots that was throughout most of this episode, focusing on, which I gotta say, one of the things I definitely was very happy about this episode is that it was very focused. For the past two episodes, we've had like 6 plots. This episode only had 4, and 2 of them were great. I mean, we finally got Ian a plot, and we really focused on Fiona and Debbie very, very well. So, of course, I'm going to talk about Fiona and Debbie first, because in my opinion, that was the best handled storyline tonight. Now, there is stuff going on with Ian and Lip that I will get into, but let's first talk about Fiona and Debbie, because I think they handled this really well. Fiona's waking up, she's having morning sickness, and obviously she has not told Sean, and I still don't think that Sean and Fiona are good together. I really don't. However, after this episode, I think they definitely showed why Fiona needs to be with someone like Sean, and why I think she kind of deserves someone like Sean. Kind of the path that she's going on, she kind of needs someone like Sean. Debbie, meanwhile, obviously, she's not going to, Florida. It's clear that she's not going there. I don't know if Lip stopped her or Fiona did, but it's clear that that is not her main focus. In fact, in this episode, she doesn't even seem interested in Derek. She doesn't want to talk to him. She doesn't want anything to do with his family. And I thought that was very smart of her to just push his family away and push him away. If he doesn't want anything to do with her, push him away. I think that's a good thing for Debbie to do. I mean, the fact that she is focusing on this kid and not going after her boyfriend, I think is a really good thing to do. And this guy probably isn't even her boyfriend anymore. Do I think that Derek is eventually going to come back in the picture? Oh yeah, I definitely think that at some point Debbie will meet up with Derek. That's going to happen. But I'm glad that Debbie actually decided to stay. Now, what's very interesting is where they took Frank in this episode, because as we know, Frank is the only one that seems to support this baby, and obviously that's not a good thing. But I don't know, I kind of like seeing Frank kind of trying to make up for lost time. He's trying to help out his daughters, who clearly don't really need him there, but I like that he is at least trying to make an effort. I definitely do like seeing that. And plus, it definitely does seem like Frank is pretty much over Bianca's death. He doesn't even bring her up in this episode. We know he's going to cancer support groups, which I guess that's just, good and fine for him, whatever, but I kind of like seeing Frank help out Debbie. I definitely like seeing that. And yeah, his advice was kind of bullshit. I mean, the fact that he told her that she's at the right age to be pregnant, obviously that's not true, but you know what? I'll let it slide, because just the fact that Frank is actually trying to be there for them, I was a bit impressed. I definitely was, because this is Frank we're talking about. Someone who walked away from his kids and hasn't really treated them like his kids all those years ago. By the way, I think Frank had the funniest line tonight when Debbie, and it was a very small line, it was when Debbie told him to go with her to walk, when she said, "Please walk me to school," and he's like, "Well, I'm not your father or anything." I thought that was a great line, because yeah, it does feel weird that suddenly Frank is actually acting like a father, and that line, I mean, it's clear that he still is backwards, but at least he's trying to make an effort. I definitely did like seeing that. He teaches Debbie about welfare and things like that, and shows her what's going on with welfare. And meanwhile, let's talk about the Fiona of it all, because this really focused more on Fiona. We focused on Debbie a little bit with welfare and whatnot, and how she wants to raise this baby and things like that. but it's clear that, and Frank's also trying to get her advice, trying to get her to talk to some moms, things like that, who are Mexican. We now know that Frank has these, like, Mexican friends, which I think is actually pretty funny. I like that Frank's actually kind of making a life for himself, so interesting stuff there. And yeah, it's kind of clear that they don't really know what to do with Frank this season, but I like at least that they're not doing anything really, really ridiculous. I mean, usually they do some really ridiculous stuff with Frank, and it's better than Frank just asking for money, okay? I'll say that. Seeing Frank trying to be, trying to actually help out his kids is better than, hey, I need some money, or hey, I'm gonna drink some beer, because that's usually what happens with Frank, so I like that they actually did something good with him for a change. I definitely like seeing that. But Fiona, of course, has the most progression in her storyline this episode, and crazy stuff happened with her here, because obviously, she doesn't know if this baby is Sean or Gus's, and I don't really think I thought of the Gus of it all, just because, I don't know, I thought Sean was most likely the father, but you know what, Gus, it very well could be Gus, because it would make sense with the timeline. You gotta look at, I mean, it takes you a little while to get pregnant. It takes you, I think, about a month or so. I'm not sure, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I think I definitely know that it takes you a while to get pregnant. Like, you don't just have sex and then you're pregnant. So it very well could have been Gus's. Definitely it could have been. And seeing Gus again, honestly, I felt really bad for Gus tonight, I have to say. I mean, Gus, you can tell right away, he kind of is, basically Fiona wants to go see him. And Sean doesn't know why she's acting so weird. Obviously, she's acting very shady. Frank finds out about Fiona's pregnancy. He's all for it. He wants her to have this baby. Obviously, Fiona wants to abort it. And I will say that Fiona, I don't really like the way she's looking at this, that, oh, these are just little cells and you gotta kill them. I think that's really a weird way to look at it, but it goes with her character. I mean, Fiona really has not made the best decisions, and I think this is still going along with that. It seems like she was trying to make good decisions, and you can definitely tell that she's trying to make the best decisions, but she's still not making the best decisions. I mean, the fact that she kind of just left, or as Debbie called it, ghosted Gus, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, she didn't really give Gus an answer. She didn't really end it with him. He's kind of just been out there waiting for her to come back, and definitely I felt really bad for Gus, because basically she goes with V, which I really like that we got V and Fiona's friendship back, because I feel like we don't really touch upon that nowadays. I mean, I feel like that's something we see, but other than that, other than a few things, I feel like we haven't really seen it. It definitely seems like this season they're trying to get back to Fiona and V's friendship, because I always really love their friendship, honestly. It's probably one of my favorite friendships on the show. I think they're really great friends, and I definitely really love seeing that. So, basically, with Fiona and V, they go to see Gus. They know he's at a concert, and right when Gus sees her, he says he's happy to see her, and he says he's wrote this song for her, and Fiona doesn't know what it's going to be about, but the song is called The F Word, which is why this episode was called The F Word, but basically, which it is, it's not called fuck, it's called The F Word, literally, that's what it's called, and, Gus publicly calls out Fiona in front of everyone, says that, hey, my wife's here, I got this song for her, and at first it's really nice, but then we realize that this is a diss song. This is a diss song of Fiona. I mean, half the words are, fuck you, Fiona, you fucked everyone else. It's clear that he is very heartbroken. It's clear that he hasn't gotten a proper goodbye, and he's very pissed at her, and you know what? I feel like Gus has a right to be pissed at her. Fiona did not handle this right at all, and I'm not gonna say that this isn't her fault, because, yeah, this is her fault. I mean, she very well could have prevented this. All she needed to say to Gus is, hey, I made a mistake, I'm not in love with you, I'm sorry that we did this, I would like to get a divorce, I want to be with someone else, I'm sorry, it's nothing against you, and I don't think it's that Fiona has something against Gus, it's just she rushed into this marriage, and you knew it wasn't going to end well from the start, so right away she should not have rushed into this marriage, which she did, and it was not the best thing for her to do, so she rushed into it, obviously, not the best thing for her to do. Gus is out there, and, I think she should have just told him that, she shouldn't have done this, but obviously it's not what happened. She quickly leaves because she's insulted, and again, I think it's understandable what he did. I think it was fine that he did that. I mean, it was a song, and to show, I mean, yeah, kind of publicly calling her out in front of a bunch of people. But I understand. I don't think he would have played it if she hadn't been there, obviously. I mean, he needed to get those words out, and he couldn't just say it to her face. And I think it really shows that Gus is still in love with Fiona. I think he is. I really do feel that Gus still has feelings for Fiona. And I don't know if she still likes him. I'm pretty sure that she's over him. But let's talk about Sean, because honestly, after this, I'm like, you know what? She kind of deserves someone like Sean. Is Sean the best man? No. But Fiona's not the best girl. She's really not. She's not the best person to be in a relationship with. In fact, she's kind of sleazy, and I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with Fiona because she doesn't tell the truth, she's very deceitful, she's married, and she's dating at the same time. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, and Sean, of course, doesn't know about the pregnancy. He knows there's something going on with her, and he's trying to cheer her up, and I definitely did like seeing that. I do still think Sean's a bit creepy, but it definitely makes sense why Sean and Fiona are together. I think they just showed that very well here of why these two are together. Definitely that made sense, and I think they show that very well here. Now let's get to what I think was the pivotal scene of this episode. Debbie comes home, she's crying, and she just tells Fiona, please support me. I have no support, I have no one, and I felt really bad for Debbie. Emma Kinney, however you pronounce her last name, really sold that just despair that Debbie's in. She just wants someone to support her, and this is what she wants. She wants to make this choice, and she doesn't care what anyone else says. She wants to raise this baby, she doesn't want to kill it, and she wants someone to help her. And I love seeing her cry to Fiona, say, I want us to raise babies together, I want us to be happy and things like that. And Fiona says, that this is a mistake, but I like that Debbie told her straight out that no, this wasn't a mistake, that she actually did do this, that she actually did do this, and she actually did want to, have this baby, and, she told Derek that she was on the pill, when of course she wasn't, and she did this all on purpose because this is what she wanted. But what Fiona said to her, I think I understand why Fiona is acting the way she is, but I don't know, I thought it was a bit too harsh. I mean, her basically just saying, I'm not going to support this baby, you're on your own, I'm not going to change a diaper. Okay, I understand that you might not want to support the baby, but flat out saying that I'm basically going to disown, that I'm basically not going to let you live in this house, I mean, that's not your decision, Fiona. Again, Fiona, you're her sister. They don't really need you. I definitely think they showed that very well here. Debbie really doesn't need Fiona. I mean, Fiona, of course, she had that whole thing with what happened with Liam with the drugs, and ever since then, where she almost killed Liam and things like that, and ever since then, I feel like it's been very hard to get that trust back, and it's clear that Debbie wants to have a good relationship as sisters, but Fiona doesn't see it that way. Fiona sees this as Debbie's ruining her life, and I understand that there is obviously that thing with, that fear of Debbie's gonna turn out like Monica. Definitely, I understand that, and I think that's part of what Fiona's thinking, that, oh shit, she's making the same choices as Monica, because Monica, I believe, had them, very young, and I think she's thinking the same for Debbie, so, definitely I think that's a big part of it, but her basically saying that I'm not going to let you live here, again, that's not your decision, Fiona. You don't get to make that choice, and I definitely was not as big as a fan of that. But I really did love that scene where she's crying to Sean, and she tells him what's going on, and she basically says that you don't get to make a choice. She says, I'm gonna abort the baby, you don't get to make a choice, and Sean says that she doesn't get to make a choice about his drugs, and it definitely seems like that while these two aren't really trusting each other, they're definitely starting to come to an understanding. They have their own things going on, and they don't really want to talk about it. And it's not really a relationship if you don't really want to talk about it, but I do like that Sean at least tried to do something about it and told her, if you want to cry, I'm going to stay here the whole time. It really shows that he does care about Fiona, and I definitely really did like that scene. Very good stuff there. But now Fiona possibly is getting evicted from her house. I don't know what's going on there, but as we know at the end of the episode, someone's there. They're gonna evict her from her house. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but that's what happened there. And let's talk about the only other thing that happened this episode, which I personally loved, honestly. I thought this was fantastic. Lip and Ian, I've been saying it all season, Ian does not have a plot line. finally, this episode, he really does get something of a plot line, and let me just say that it was really refreshing to not see Lip with Helene in this episode, because, not that I don't like Helene, but you guys know that I feel that storyline's going nowhere, and I don't really like where it's going, so I like that we kind of took a break from that in this episode. In fact, most of this revolved around seeing Ian at college, because now that Ian has been fired from, from Fiona's restaurant, now, and Fiona and Sean's restaurant, now he is actually living the college life, and I like seeing that. I like seeing Ian on campus, and he actually now has a part-time job where he's not doing a lot, and most of it is just, like, cleaning up garbage and things like that, but hey, it's a decent pay, it's a good job, so I definitely like seeing that, and I like seeing Ian on campus trying to have fun, but you definitely see that it gets really intense between Ian and Lip, because Lip is focused on his studies, and Ian, it's pretty clear that he's not. He wants to have fun with Lip, he wants to hang out with him, and they actually get into a pretty big fight. I mean, that got really crazy between them, what happened there, but that fight was definitely very crazy, what ended up happening, so definitely really crazy stuff there, but I really love Lip's monologue about the bipolar disorder and how everyone's really worried about it and how he wants to help out his brother. Just really great stuff, and the fact that I think it's been a long time since we've actually seen Lip and Ian have a scene together, because I definitely feel it's been a while since we've seen that, I just really love that scene. I mean, Lip and Ian, Lip's been away at college for a while, so him and Ian really haven't had a lot of interaction, and it was really nice to see that, and see that Lip really does want to help him out. Definitely really love that. But then the ending of this episode, now this was crazy, really this was crazy here. The ending here with Ian, basically he witnesses a car crash and the person's car is on fire. Ian rescues the man, but in return, he is unconscious. He can't really say anything. He's not remembering his name, and a firefighter saves him, and that's how the episode ends. So, what's going to happen to Ian? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think Ian's going to be okay. They're not going to kill off Ian. They're not going to do that. So, definitely something is going to happen there. We'll have to see, but I don't know. Does he have memory loss? I mean, the firefighter couldn't get him to answer any questions, so does Ian have memory loss? What's going on there? We'll have to see, because that definitely is going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed this episode, I have to say. I mean, I think this was definitely a very solid episode. As far as Fiona and Sean goes, like I said, I think we really saw why these two are together. They kind of just, they deserve to be together. I mean, Fiona's made some really bad choices, so has Sean. It really does make sense. Gus is a much more committed man, and that's something that Fiona hasn't given him. She hasn't given him really any commitment, if you think about it. I mean, there have been many people that Fiona haven't given a lot of commitment to, and that's one of the reasons why Fiona is where she is right now. So I definitely understand that. Fiona's definitely going to abort this baby. You definitely know that's going to happen. It seems like Frank is still trying to support Debbie. Really interesting stuff going on there. How do you feel about Frank supporting Debbie? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I think it's good that he's trying to just be there for his daughters. I like seeing them. Like I said, I think it's a lot better than him asking for money and things like that. So I'm fine with Frank helping out Debbie. Of course, it's not the best person to help her out, but at least someone is supporting her. I definitely love seeing that. But of course, Debbie feels like no one's supporting her because Frank obviously doesn't really know what he's doing, so I understand that. Lip and Ian, what is going to happen with Ian? We'll have to see what happens there, but I like seeing Lip concerned about him. Definitely we'll have to see where that goes, because that is definitely going to be very interesting. Carl, just figure out something to do with Carl, okay? I don't like this character. I want something better to do with him. And then Yanis, just get rid of him. I don't care. Yanis is not working for me. Kill him off. I don't care what you have to do. He's not working. And I want Yanis gone because he's annoying me. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like I said, actually really did enjoy this episode. I think this was definitely the first great episode of this season. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for the revival of the X-Files. No, I have not seen a single episode. I'm going to go into this blind, but I don't care. I think I can go into this blind and kind of know what's going on. I did watch a special before it, so I'm pretty sure I know what's going to be able to be going on. I'm going to try that out, and I'll let you guys know if I like it, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.